Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I'd like to welcome you to the City of Somerville Zoning Board of Appeals meeting for Wednesday, December the 4th. It is 6:01 for the record. Pursuant to Chapter 2 of the Acts of 2023, this meeting of the Somerville Zoning Board of Appeals will be conducted via remote participation. A recording of these proceedings can be accessed at any time using the registration link at the top of the agenda. Joining us tonight on the staff is going to be our acting clerk, Brian Cook. Then we have Ann Fullerton, Zach Zaremba, Sarah Daglian, and I am Susan Fontano. Let's see, tonight we have under general business, we have to approve some minutes, past minutes. Mr. Clerk, would you take care of that, please?
Yes, Madam Chair. I move to approve the minutes for the November 6th, 2024 Zoning Board of Appeals meeting.
Does anybody have any comments or corrections to the notes, the minutes? No? Seeing and hearing none, we'll could I have a second on the motion, please?
Second.
Seconded by Ann Fullerton. All in favor of accepting the minutes of the November 6th, 2024 meeting as presented, please say aye. Cecia Daglian,
Aye.
Brian Cook,
Aye.
Ann Fullerton,
Aye.
Zach Zaremba,
Aye.
and Susan Fontano, aye. Let the record show that all members voted in the affirmative. Also, just a point of information tonight, Cecia Daglian and Brian Cook will be voting on all cases. And the next thing I want to do is just mention that we do have some planning and zoning staff joining us tonight. We have Andrew Kraminski, we have Sarah White, and we have Christian Patendo. I hope I mess that name up every time. Welcome. Without staff, we really couldn't do these meetings. They do a lot of homework and research for us, and we really appreciate it. So without further ado, the first case on the agenda this evening is 76 to 78 Powder House Boulevard. Mr. Clerk.
I think Andrew has a point of
Oh,
order.
I'm sorry. I'm Andrew. Yes, please.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I just wanted to clarify, the applicant is tonight requesting a continuance. I earlier mentioned December 18th. It's actually a continuance to the January 15th meeting that they're requesting. So I wanted to make sure that that was clear to the clerk. So that's in the motion properly with the proper continuance date. So
what was it? January what?
15th of 2025.
Is that our first meeting in January?
That is correct.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Okay. In the matter of 7678 Powder House Boulevard, ZP 24-000029, I move to approve the applicant's request to the January 15, 2025 Zoning Board of Appeals meeting.
May I please have a second on the motion?
Second.
Seconded by Cecia Daglian. All in favor, please respond in the affirmative. Cecia Daglian,
Aye.
Brian Cook,
Aye.
Ann Fullerton,
Aye.
and Zach Zaremba,
Aye.
and myself, Susan Fontano, aye. I'll let the record show that's all in the affirmative. We'll see the folks on January the 15th, 2025. Next on the agenda is 483 Broadway. Mr. Clerk.
Yes, Madam Chair. I would like to introduce the case of 483 Broadway, ZP 24-000106. Tavis Babbitt seeks zoning relief from the minimum number of stories requirement in the MR4 district, which requires a hardship variance. Also, 483 Broadway, ZP 24-000107. Tavis Babbitt seeks zoning relief from the story height requirement in the MR4 district, which requires a hardship variance.
Thank you. I just want to point out that what we did tonight, the staff did, for folks listening in or following along. They're both hardship variances. And what we did was I highlighted, with presenting them together. And there's the staff report, and the number one is, of course, for the, I have my little notes here in front of me, a little cheat sheet here. One is for the stories and two is for the height. And we're going to discuss them partially individually, and then we'll group them together. Who do we have here from the Tavis? Babbitt's here tonight. Hello. Getting used to seeing you
evening.
here.
Yeah,
Oh.
I just felt like I needed to check back in with you all and see how your year's been going.
So everything's moving along for you?
Well, this is the one of the steps that we need to complete again, just to continue the process. Up until now, we haven't been able to finish our approval process through the other means. So as you may recall, we got an approval to extend this another 6 months, which expired in November 3rd, so this year. So that was the maximum amount of time allowed. So it's been 1.5 years since we originally, or the second time we got this approved. So in order to keep things moving with the planning board, we need to come back and get these reestablished as approved variances. So yeah, I know you're
How's
familiar.
everything looking on? Yeah, how's everything looking for all your other things coming along? Everything's starting to get better and falling into place?
I hope so. I think at this point we know all the hurdles that we needed to jump through the zoning board, and so we've completed all those aside from this expiring. And so going forward, we should have what we need to continue with the site plan approval process. So I'm hoping Sarah is on the same page, which she's nodding yes.
Yes, that's a
Yes.
good sign.
Yeah.
Yeah, great.
Mhm.
Sarah, do you have any comments for us? Sarah White, do you have any comments for us?
Madam Chair, through you, no, thank you so much. No, be glad to see that if these get approved tonight, we'll be very happy to see everybody move forward finally towards the site plan approval process and get this done and out of the way.
Okay, number one, I still, so we opened this tonight, and because it's a new hardship variance, a renewal. Is there anyone in the public here, Mr. Griminski, that showed up that has any additional comments? Public?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Through you, I am not seeing anyone with their hand raised at this time. We have 2 attendees, but again, no hands are raised.
Okay, thank you. I don't want to, miss anything and just keep smooth sailing here. We got to go through the steps. Okay, so seeing, hearing and checking and seeing none, we'll close the public portion, open it up to the board for their comments. Anything new of interest for anybody? They want to ask anything or question anything, please raise your hand. Nope. Beautiful. Yes, Ann Fullerton, please.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Actually, my comment is, I remember when this case came to us the first time and came to us for an extension, and there are no surprises in the package from my perspective.
Great, thank you, thank you. And no one else, so hearing that, we'll close our portion. And are we ready to vote? That's it, no more discussion? Fine. So could we please have a motion from the clerk, Mr. Cook?
Before I proceed, Madam Chair, I just want to clarify that whether we're either incorporating the previous findings from the previous decision or incorporating the commentary on the findings in the staff memo. Or we could do both, I suppose. But I just want to make sure I get the wording correct as far as the findings are concerned. We've already established those findings. But I
Uh-huh.
believe since these are new variances, we need to make reference to the source. of
Stipulate.
findings.
Yes, you do.
Yes.
Yes, you do. Sarah, want to speak to Brian?
Sure, Madam Chair, through you. Thanks for the question, Mr. Cook. Yes, so you do have to ensure, rather than just referring to previously made findings, you really do need to reestablish what your findings are for each of these items again. Now, if you find, because you have the old, you can certainly look back and see what the old decisions were. You can, certainly reiterate those findings, but you would have to speak them into the record again. Does
Well,
that address your question?
yes, yes. So
Okay.
I would appreciate my fellow board members helping me articulate the findings. I know what they are, but I would like them articulated by other members of the board so they're on the record, rather than just me inserting them into the motions.
And tell me, for example, now we're gonna speak to the first case, the hardship for the height of the stories, correct? Is that how you want us to handle it, Sarah? Do the
Madam-
case number one, and then say that, and we'll approve that, and then go to number two.
Yes, Madam Chair, through you, yes. So
Okay.
you would call that first item with the case number, the address,
Right.
and the legal ad, what the variance is for. And then you would go through each of the criterion, for the hardship variance. So in the matter of in terms of criteria 1, we find this, criteria 2, we find this, criterion 3, we find this. Once you take your vote and do your roll call on that, then you would call the second item ZP, 24, blah, 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 107, address, read it into the record, and go through the same procedure again, in terms of each of the criteria that you need to make a finding on.
Okay. So let me see something here. The stories, let me see one thing. I want to back up to the 3 criteria. Special circumstances. Okay. So what are you asking us, Brian? You'd like somebody to speak up and so let me ask if Ann Fullerton could help me. So for the first one, you're gonna make your motion, Brian, and then you're asking us to specify the 3 steps, circumstances,
I
the
just need help
enforcement.
with the language for each of the findings. So for
Okay.
example, criteria 1, we would say that because the boundary between
The
Medford
cities, that's right.
and Somerville bisects the site, there is evidence of an unusual shape or other conditions of the lot that require
Okay.
hardship variance.
Who'd like to volunteer for that? Cecia? And you would. Okay, Ann, thank you so much. So go ahead, Brian.
Madam Chair, if I may. Brian,
Yes.
so for variance number 1, which is 106,
Right.
criteria 1, I think the staff memo has really a very good general language around criteria 1,
Yes.
but it boils down to the fact that Medford only allows a 2-story building, and it doesn't make sense for Somerville's portion of the building to not align with the majority of the building
Right.
because the lot is so small. For criteria 2,
Two.
it's gonna be the same in both cases for criteria 2 for 106 and 107. And that's the lot is, it's what's the remaining lot in Somerville is not buildable without allowing this variance. And then for criteria 3, it's gonna be the same for both cases, that this does not create a hardship for the MR district. In fact, it's in keeping with the neighborhood, the retail in the neighborhood, and that is supported by planning.
Okay.
And then for criteria number 1 for hardship variance 107, the difference is the story, not the stories, but the height
Right.
of the 2 floors. And that again is largely being controlled by what Medford's allowing.
Medford.
Mhm.
Perfect, thank you. Okay,
Okay.
Brian, you're ready.
Yes. Right, well, I'm tempted to say, just as the criteria findings have been discussed, however, I will enter them into the record in the motion.
Right,
Oh, okay.
perfect.
For the case of 483 Broadway, ZP 24000106, I move to approve the hardship variance for zoning relief from the minimum number of stories requirement in the MR4 district on the basis of the criteria findings as follows. One, that the lot is bisected by the boundary between Somerville and Medford, and Medford restricts the building height of the building. Sorry, the minimum number of stories of the building in conflict with Somerville, and therefore, in order to maintain contiguously in the construction of the building, which is entirely in Medford, it requires a hardship variance.
Mhm.
Criterion number 2, the lot in the Somerville section of the property is not buildable without a hardship variance for the requirements to be met in the Medford side. And number 3, the hardship variance is in keeping with the intent and purpose of the MR4 district, especially with respect to enhanced appropriate areas for smaller scale, multi-use and mixed-use buildings and neighborhood serving uses.
Perfect. Thank you, excellent. May I have a second on the motion? Everybody awake here tonight? Ann Fullerton again, seconded by Ann. All in favor, please say aye as we go around. Ann Fullerton,
Aye.
Brian Cook,
Aye.
Zach Zaremba,
Aye.
Cece Daglian,
Aye.
and Susan Fontano, aye. Let the record show all members voted the affirmative to pass the, I want to look at my number here. Or 483 Broadway, CP 24000106. Thank you. Next motion, Mr. Cook.
Yes, Madam Chair. In the matter of 483 Broadway, ZP 24-000107, I move to approve the hardship variance for zoning relief from the story height requirement in the MR4 district based on the statutory criteria findings as follows. For criteria 1, because the building is entirely in Medford and Medford restricts the story height in order to make the building continuity for the entire site, this hardship variance is required. Criterion number 2, without the hardship variance, the section of the property in Somerville is not buildable, and therefore hardship variance is required. And criterion number 3, the hardship variance is in keeping with the intent and purposes of the MR4 district.
Thank you. May I have a second to the motion?
Seconded.
Cece Daglian, thank you, everybody. Cece Daglian seconds the motion. All in favor? Zach Zaremba,
Aye.
Brian Cook,
Aye.
Ann Fullerton,
Aye.
Cece Daglian,
Aye.
and Susan Fontano, aye. Let the record show that in the matter of 483 Broadway, ZP 24-000107, all voted in the affirmative in the case. The hardship request passes. Good luck, guys. I
Thank
hope
you very much.
this was it for you guys.
I hope so too. I appreciate all your support.
We
your
want to
patience,
pretty up
and your
that
help.
corner, you know, we come down Broadway, it's a little
Yeah.
It's a little eyesore, so it will look nice when
Absolutely.
it's all done.
We're all on
Sarah
the same
White,
page.
thank you for working with these folks so hard.
Sure thing, Madam Chair,
Thank
through
you all.
you. All right,
Alright.
look forward to seeing you at the site plan approval process. Let's get it done.
We'll be there.
All
Sounds
right.
Thank
good.
you. Thank
Thank
you
you.
too.
Good night, everybody.
Good night,
Alrighty.
everyone.
Thank you.
Good night. Next on our agenda is general business. Anybody, let me flip over here to my, let's see, yeah. Alrighty, so other business, there's nothing showing. We're down for our next meeting in December, the 15th, not far
18th.
away. Boy, these
18th.
days are going by. 18. Oh, thank you so much, everybody. And anybody have any comments for tonight? No? Good job, Brian. Thank you, Ann, for
Little bit of a
filling in.
stumble, but thank you.
No, really, it's, you gotta get it right. We take our time and that's what we're all here for, we're a team. So without further ado, we'll adjourn the meeting. Can somebody make a motion?
I move to adjourn the zoning board of appeals meeting of December 4, 2024.
Seconded,
seconded.
Zach Zaremba, second. All in favor, please say aye. Brian Cook,
Aye.
Zach Zaremba,
Aye.
Ann Fullerton,
Aye.
and Cecilia Daglian.
Aye.
And myself, Susan Fontano, aye. Let the record show it's unanimous to adjourn. Have a good one. See you in a couple of weeks. Thanks,
Night.
everybody.
Bye,
Good meeting.
everyone.